All right, guys, welcome to the next video in the gears.cpp series. It is an algorithm that is used to basically generate a bunch of gears that rotate. Okay, so it has a camera system, and that's pretty much it, right? So it's a set of examples that are freely available online, courtesy of Sascha Willems. Definitely check out his website, and also, check out the examples on GitHub, and you will get all the Vulkan examples. It's freely available code. So I use the examples to learn Vulkan, and I take you along for the journey. Now, if you want to have the algorithm installed and running on your system, check out tutorial number 1 and tutorial number 13. I'll provide links below. Tutorial number 1 is installing the Vulkan API. Tutorial number 13 is installing the Vulkan Example. So these tutorials assume a Windows-based machine with a Vulkan capable GPU. So it has to be Windows-based and it has to be Vulkan capable GPU. All right, let's get into it. So the next function that we investigate is updateUniformBuffers. Okay, so let's go to it. So updateUniformBuffers is basically a for loop where I assume it would be three rotations, 3 cycles through the for loop, and basically you're calling this updateUniformBuffer. Now, if we go to it, it basically takes perspective, view, and timer. So I'm gonna say that this is it's basically taking into account the camera system, and then also this is a timer situation for rotation of the gears, right? So you kind of have to rotate, translate, what have you, the actual gear itself. But you're just basically rotating the frame, rotating where the pixels show, that kind of stuff. So remember, we said that uniform buffers it's a kind of memory, a kind of data that it's specifically designed to be updated very quickly. Now, if you're doing 2,000 frames per second, obviously, you have to be able to update or change or rotate or translate, what data you're presenting very, very fast, right? Because that's how you get the simulation of the gears rotating. If it's too slow, then if the data or the data management or the memory processing, all that stuff, if it's too slow, then your frames per second drop, and then the image quality or the graphics quality on your screen, I'm sure you guys who play video games know exactly what I'm talking about, it drops. Okay, so UBOs are commonly used for the camera system, right? So as you can see here, this is all relating to the camera, right? So the light and the camera and the view and projection and all that stuff, I mean, it is sort of what is being used, not only manage the camera system but also manage the gears themselves. Okay, so that's that. Obviously, I'm not going to get into all of this. There is a mem copy operation, which you're basically moving memory around. I haven't really dug into this. I did in previous times, because I did do a staging buffer discussion and all that. I will include it. It's a whiteboard discussion. I'll include a link to that video below. But basically, these UBOs, you have to kind of move the data around. So I don't know if it's like moving it around from RAM on the CPU side over to the Vulkan API, or I don't quite remember exactly what the mem copy is for, or what it's doing in this particular, in the UBO context or in the uniform buffer context. But there is a mem copy operation here, which I'm not gonna get into. What I do want to get into though is that, remember I said that uniform buffers, it's about quickly updating, and you know, these parameters here are basically they're basically dictating how it updates, and more specifically this parameter here, right? So this last parameter. So if we go back to the last parameter, it's basically called, whatever it calculates to is basically called timer here. And timer is used here, here, and here. Now, as far as the light positions, I can't really vouch for what happens. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna tinker with this value here, which boils down to this value here, which affects this, this, and this here. Okay, so we're gonna tinker with that variable, and we're gonna see what you know, see what happens. So let's just run the script as it is right now, and we see that it's like this. Okay, so it does its thing. Okay, so as you can see, just notice how much it rotates, right? So let us now modify this value. Okay, so now we're going to run the script with the value being modified. And as you can see, it goes a lot faster. Okay, and that makes sense because it's, you know, as far as it's affecting this right here, this is what I care about. It's affecting this calculation right here, right? So we're rotating the model, we're rotating the pixels, all of that stuff, and you know, this now rotates speed times timer, so it's going a lot faster. Okay, now let us go in the opposite direction. Let us now decrease the value significantly. All right, so let us decrease the value and see what's rendered. Right, and as you can see here, the rotations now are extremely slow, right? And that makes sense because we are, you know, we're decreasing the rotation speed of the UBOs, how the models are translated, which simulates how this thing turns. Okay, so that is that. And remember, we're doing 2,000 frames per second, so this stuff has to be really fast. Okay, we could do even slower if we want. We could do 1, right? And you see it's even slower. Still rotating, but as you can see, it's a lot slower. All right, so let's take this out. And you see we're back to normal, right? 2,000 frames per second, and so right. So that's sort of, whenever you see UBO, you know, you understand that usually it's camera system, and then also for making changes to the to the models themselves, minor changes, right? You know, and in this case, it's rotation. So you know, that's it for update uniform buffers. The next thing in the series is build command buffers, which yeah, yeah, it's a little bit more involved. But there you have it, folks. Uniform buffers is a very, very important. It always comes up in Vulkan, right? And we're updating it, very, very frequently, so that the graphics that we see moves and all that stuff. And the camera system adjusts to whatever you request and all that stuff. All right, guys. Cuda Education, guys. Cuda Education. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. If you know people that are artistically inclined, get them involved. I try to assume in all of my tutorials that you have no previous programming knowledge, so that helps you to learn. Make it easy for everyone to learn and understand. Windows-based system, Vulkan capable GPU. All right. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.